Hi there. Let's quickly see how we can install the Linux on Windows, and we'll go to the VirtualBox and download it and install the VirtualBox on Windows machine. It can be Windows 10 or any other version. And once you have the VirtualBox set up, let's download the Ubuntu for desktop. Then you can download it and you can save it on your local desktop. It will be like a almost 1.9 gigabyte file. It will take some time. So here are some of the system specific requirements that are there, so you can check and see if you have enough memory and space on your computer before installing it. So once it is installed, now I started the VirtualBox. So this is my VirtualBox. Here what I'm going to do is I'll see where the downloaded file is set up right now. So we'll start from Oracle VM. There you can go to the file and click on the file. You will see add new. Okay, there you can see how to click on the new button. Then we will enter Ubuntu over here, and by default it's showing up Linux over there, so you can see Linux 64-bit. Let's select that one. So if you click on the next, it will give you a prompt, and you can adjust the memory size here. And before you do that, you can check like if there is enough memory in your computer, so that you can also adjust this later on. But if you have to adjust it later on, you have to power off the system, the VirtualBox system, and then readjust it at that point of time. So you can see here what are the basic minimum requirements that are suggested. I mean, you can go below that, it should still work, but it will, if you have like big applications running, it may not support it, and then may give you some problems of memory errors and so on and so forth. So for now, let's select and I'm clicking on the create virtual hard disks. We'll select the default disk image. The next step would be click on the next button, then click on the next. Then you can see we will leave it dynamically allocated, so it doesn't take up a lot of space beforehand. Let's set it up as a dynamically allocated, and here you have the option to choose the space that you want to set up. I'm leaving it right now as 10 or 15 gigabytes, so that we can change it later on, or even 20. If you have a lot of space on your computer, you can set the higher levels. And click on create. So now we created on the VirtualBox a area where you can install the Ubuntu. Now what we can do is we have to see if the file is downloaded, and then we can go to the settings and add that downloaded disk, the Ubuntu disk, and then install it from there. Now we will set up the go to the advanced stage and then change it to bidirectional, so that you can actually transfer files from your computer to Linux and vice versa. and on the storage, let's click on that empty, and here you can see you can select the option where you can actually choose a disk file, or then we'll enter the path of where the Ubuntu has been downloaded. Okay, so I have downloaded both for Ubuntu as well as Red Hat. In a little while I'll be also showing you how to install there. So now I'm selecting the Ubuntu and click on OK. Now click on the start button. So it's going to give the option of starting it, and it will start running on the VM. Now we are installing the Ubuntu on the machine, on the Windows. Okay, so now you can see it's showing up, and you can select the install Ubuntu button there. Click on the install Ubuntu, and it will give you options. So I'm selecting US English, and click on continue. So we will leave that as default for now, and I uncheck the download updates because I just don't want to do it right now. And we will select the install. You can leave the erase disk, so it shouldn't harm. It's going to just use the VirtualBox, so it shouldn't harm your Windows machine. And the time zone, select it. It depends on where you are. I'm selecting New York, and enter the basic username and computer name and password and those details. Now it's going to set up our Ubuntu Linux on our Windows machine. It will continue installing all the other options that we have selected, and you can see here it is installing the Spotify and Firefox and other apps that come by default. You can actually skip them if you don't want to install all of those. And now it gives you an option to reboot, so click on the reboot button, so it will reboot the machine, the Linux machine. And once it comes back, you can log in, and that should be done. So there you go. So you get your Linux machine on your Windows using the VirtualBox. And here you can actually do some more tweaking by setting it up, like making it into a full screen by using there are some options where you can do like right click and go to the machine in options. In order to make sure you get a bigger full screen, you need to do the guest additions on the CD image. So first of all, go to devices, insert guest addition CD image, and this can be done from the VirtualBox, so that you can do that. And once you set that guest additions, press the Control F. This will toggle the full screen monitor from the smaller screen that you are seeing, so that you can actually go between full screen and normal small screen that you see it. And that's it for Ubuntu setup. Okay, let's toggle to the full screen here. Okay, so now you can see it is toggled into full screen mode. Now let us set up Red Hat Linux on Windows. Let's go to VirtualBox, and again we'll follow the similar steps what we did for Ubuntu. Instead we will say Red Hat Linux here, and you can see in the drop down type it's already selected Linux. Okay, so we will click on the next button. Now you can see there are some options on setting up the memory for the Red Hat Linux. Then create a virtual disk for the partition. I mean, you don't need to really partition it on Windows. You'll be just using the virtual box. So, and you can allocate the memory dynamically, just like what we did. And for now, I'm just using the like. We'll go to the settings and go to the advanced. Here also we will choose bidirectional sharing of the files between the desktop and the Red Hat Linux. Okay, so we can leave the rest of the options as is, or you can actually change them, because the CPU may be able to give you more CPUs if you are doing a machine learning project on it. Then choose the file to mount the source file for the operating system for Red Hat Linux. So let's choose that one, and then mount it by going to the location there. Okay, so I have it in the downloads file. So I already downloaded it. It's actually a bigger size file. It is 3.78 gigabytes. Our Ubuntu was only 1.9. Okay, so now we will start that, and then it's going to ask us the similar steps how we could do that. Okay, so we will follow the rest of the steps on, like selecting the language. So now you can select English, use and the language you want to. Okay, after that click on the begin installation. So now it will start installing it. Selecting the default Ethernet so that we can connect to the internet from Linux also. Now we will set up the root password for Linux, and you can also create new users. And you can set up details for like full name, username, etc. So now we are done with the setup, and we will reboot, and once you reboot the machine you will see this. I'm already in the terminal of Red Hat Linux. So now I'm going to enter my credentials so it can. Okay, so now you can see it logged me in. Okay, that's all for now. Thank you for watching. You can do more setup, like you can configure the graphical user interface for Red Hat Linux, and follow the similar steps if you want to do the full screen mode.